And of course, final one. It is time to do the casual reaction and of course, new Home Lab video. Is Honkai Impact food really dying? Here's the truth. I think I did one video about this, the 6-month review, and I think Honkai kind of died in a sense, right? Because like because like part 2 is for that gonna bring back the game alive, but then nothing happened. Like the game still dies normal, and as a part 2 gamer myself, the story is a bit mid. The story is low key. I think I have the same problem with part 1. It's like kind of too much yabbing. Like it's just useless dialogue between them. Like there's no reason why for them to be so long. Like you know what I mean. And the gacha system is like it on paper, right? It seemed better, but like in experience, it feel really bad. It feel dog shit. Max PD on every banner, really fun. So there's that. And I think the Google trend does say that the games just keep dying. I don't think there's a single spike in the last few months. So I think the game is really dying. I mean, every game is, right. Like, there's no way the game gonna spike up again. Maybe they put Kiana new suit in. I guess then maybe the game explode again. But like, yeah, the game is really dying. I do not think that's as a argument to say that the game is more popular than ever. No. Alright, let's watch the video now.
Oh my god, guys, I can't believe it. Honkai Impact 3 is
Oh my
dead.
god, oh, it's
Part
dead.
2 killed it. Well,
I mean, kind of true, right? Okay, I think they built up kind of good stuff with Apple. I think the Apple app created a fun base around it. And the fact that you just like store the Apple for later is a bit it feel bad, right? Because now you just somehow release part 2, which no one know about that. And you put Apple a plan here for a long time, much later. And now people who play Apple, it's like, well, they're not gonna release a new Apple soon, so why do I play the game? So like I think they kind of mess up with the part 2 advertisement.
I guess it's time to stop playing. I mean, the servers are gonna close in any minute. I'm just gonna delete my channel and start a new one where I'll...
Okay, hold on. What the subtitle looks so bad? Hold on. Subtitles, can I change it? It looks so white. What? It looks so bad. Can I change like the background or something? Nah, it looks... Oh, look worse, dude. Jesus, okay. Whatever. Okay. Start new channel. Nah, bro. Start from ground zero, so hot though. So no.
cover ZZZ called Bamboo Labs. So you'll find
True.
me there. Hello, today's video is going to be more chill with less editing and just me talking, partly because I don't think this type of video requires a lot of editing and partly...
Oh, me when that I edit, I put in like 6 billion skibidi edit. No.
because I want to take a break from straining my back. So, this idea that Honkai Impact 3 is dead, or dying, has been floating around for a while. And yeah,
I mean, it's like been around for a long time, right? Like since part 2 release, everyone keeps saying the game's dying.
it's true that the game has been in decline, but it's nowhere near as bad as people on the internet want it to be.
No, I still think it is bad. I still think, in my opinion, it is bad. But if you think otherwise, that's fine. But like, in my opinion, I think it is still bad. Like, I don't think like the content of part 2, like, right? I don't think they pull people in like part 1.
wanted to make this video to clear up some misinformation regarding things like revenue, part 2 gacha, power creep and more, and explain why this game...
Okay, revenue wise, right? If you think Honkai Impact is like a massive revenue for MiHoYo, bro, that's is literally just false information. Like, I don't think Honkai even make that much money, bro. Like even since even like at like part 1, maybe like the first 2-3 years, but like ever since Genshin and Star release, bro, Honkai Impact make nothing, man. So like you say like the revenue is like reason why the game dying. Nah.
is far from dead. In fact, we might be close to seeing it rise back to the glories sooner than you think. But
No,
first,
no,
speaking of
never.
misinformation on the internet, one of the best way to protect yourself while browsing is by using today's video sponsor.
Oh,
Art is
sponsor.
not art, which
Skip,
national
skip,
money
skip,
completely
skip.
for sponsor.
First session.
First and foremost, let's talk about the main argument people use when claiming that the game is quote-unquote dead, which is the revenue. At the beginning of each month, people often get their data from websites like Sensor Tower and compile them into a list to see which game.
Bro, this list, this is literally like the most worthless thing ever. Like, if you look at this, right, and think, yeah, revenue down, therefore game dying. No, this list doesn't fucking matter. No one cares about this. Like, Genshin revenue, okay. Genshin revenue, right? Go from 60 mil to 50 mil, no, to 40 mil. Like, half revenue. And they say that, yeah, Genshin dying, that's good. Bro, that's a month, right, or something? Or 2 months, 3 months, I don't know. Bro, that means nothing. That's still numbers. Like, no one cares, bro. Like, the definitely know it's gonna happen. So, like, so no one cares about numbers, but no one cares. This list is worthless.
Makes more money, which have fallen off, and to gauge how their favorite gacha game is doing. For those of you who do not know, Sensor Tower is a website that gathers data and provides an estimate revenue for different mobile apps, including gacha games. Then there are websites like gacharevenue.com which compile the data and create a list based on how much revenue a gacha game generates per server. It's important to note that Sensor Tower does not calculate how much money a game makes on PC.
I think, how much does PC even make? Because I know that most gacha player is like a mobile game one than a PC one. Like Genshin, right? Genshin is like a mobile game and then PC because they are more casual. So I think mobile might as well take like 80% or 70% of revenue. So I don't think even if you put in PC revenue, I don't think like the number changes.
So all the data available is from iOS and Android. This means that all the games with a PC port probably make a lot more money, or at least
I don't know
some
about
of
that
them
one.
do. On top of that, Sensor Tower doesn't report Android revenue for Chinese servers, so to make up the chart, Gacha Revenue uses a 1.75 multiplier of the iOS revenue to estimate how much money the games make on Android. Note that different sources use different multipliers. For example, Gacha Revenue reported that Honkai Impact made around $2.5 million in China last month on iOS.
Holy shit, that much? Bro, I didn't know that. I thought they make like $1 million. That's it. Okay, I know that China is like pretty big, but like 2.5 million, bro. Holy.
And Android.
Bro, I bet that global make like 500,000. That's it.
While other sources on Bilibili, which is basically the YouTube of China, reported that the game made around 4.1 million.
How is games bro? I can't expect. Okay, like the Honkai scene in China is actually so big, man. But like in global, bro, that shit dead in water, man. No one care about Honkai Impact anymore. But China though, they care. Holy.
Which is a big difference.
Maybe that's why the dev listen to China more.
Not to mention that both Sensor Tower and Gacha Revenue state clearly that the numbers take a while to stabilize and can change throughout the first week that they are reported. Unfortunately, people on social media take the numbers from the very first day and post them everywhere. Many times...
I mean, that's why the number doesn't fucking matter, right? Like, no, why does it look the number doesn't matter? I am saying it again for the fourth time in a row. Those numbers doesn't mean shit.
If you go back and check the stats again after a week, you might find different numbers. In fact, something similar happened to Wuwa recently, when the reported number on the first day of the month was way lower than was actually later updated. So my point is that these numbers are not real. They are just estimates and nobody besides the developers knows the real numbers. For example, Honkai Impact had an estimate revenue of $3.2 million across all servers.
Which 90% is from CN. 90% from CN, just saying.
In September. Now, this is in no way, shape or form the real number, but for the sake of it, let's try to calculate the PC revenue based on this number and see what the actual revenue for the month would look like. A while back, I ran a poll on YouTube and asked the Honkai Impact community what device
Holy, that's more PC, alright. Didn't you know that?
They played the game on. I had over 2,000 people respond to that poll, which is basically all the...
Okay, low key, it looked like more half, not lie. So just double the mobile revenue then, I guess.
Players on the global servers, and estimates are that 60% play on PC and around 40% play on mobile. Now, keep in mind that the poll I ran doesn't mean much since trends tend to differ between games and regions. For example, action games like Honkai Impact probably have a higher percentage of players on PC than mobile, while turn-based games like Star Rail probably have more mobile players than PC players. There's also the regional differences. In Asia, for example, mobile gaming is a lot more popular, while in the West, people tend to prefer PC. But just for the fun, let's estimate the PC revenue based on the poll. I mean, it's just as valid as gacha revenue estimating Android revenue for the Chinese servers. So, if 40% of the players are on mobile, and mobile made $3.2 million, and given that 60% of the players are playing on PC, that should make the PC revenue somewhere around $4.8 million.
I don't know, man, but that number looks so fake to me. I don't know. There's something look very wrong though. Those numbers kinda a bit sussy, man. It's like a bit too big, bro.
Bringing the total revenue across all platforms around $8 million. And keep in mind that gacha revenue is not the only source of money for these games. There are merchandise sales and other streams of revenue.
Okay, low-key, Honkai merchandise is actually big. Like, if you're talking about Honkai Impact, right? The game's dying, but the merch they're making is actually so good, man. Like, how did they make Honkai merch so good? Like, literally how? Like, I bought the jacket, the Rosemary jacket, looks so good. I bought some of the Kiana one, banger. Like, bro, how does they make merch look so good? How?
Revenue that the game can have. And while the $8 million we calculate is also an estimate, I just want to point out that nobody knows the real revenue of the game, but it's probably a lot higher than what we see on the gacha revenue chart. Now, does this mean that the gacha revenue chart and Sensor Tower are a complete waste of time and have no purpose? Absolutely not. While they do not show accurate numbers, they are good at showcasing trends around the game. For example, if you see the game's revenue growing a lot from month to month, you can safely assume that the real revenue is also rising and the game is doing well. The same applies the other way around. If you see the game's revenue declining, it means that most likely the real revenue is in decline and the game might not be doing as well. And this is exactly
in 1 month, by the way. Not doing well in 1 month.
Happening with Honkai Impact Third ever since the end of part 1. Funnily enough, looking at the game's revenue over the years, it had quite a few moments of decline. For example, in 2019, the game had...
Let's see, hold on. 19? When was that? No, this was before, this before I was playing Honkai, so no.
Months where it was making around $20 million on mobile, and the first major dip can be seen at the beginning of 2020 when the PC client came out and many players most likely moved to PC, so their data wasn't recorded anymore. Okay. The next big revenue dip was around Genshin Impact's release, showcasing that Genshin did affect Honkai Impact 3rd as many players moved over or chose to spend on...
Look how big the CN is, man. It's just all blue, bro. It's just blue. It's nothing, it's just blue.
Genshin instead. There's no denying that Honkai Impact 3rd is an old game. This year the game turned 8 years old, which is a long time for a gacha game. The game's story was also one of the main reasons why people enjoyed it. So when Kiana's...
I think the story, right? I think the reason why people play, the percentage of people play Honkai just for story. I don't know the exact number here, but I'm a guess. Source, trust me. I think around like at least 70% of people play the game just for story. Like, I play for both, right? Both story and kind of story and gameplay. Gameplay alone is peak, but like the reason why people are draw into Honkai because of story. Yeah. Reason why the reason why I started playing Honkai is Mobius. And that's already the story. I mean, that's kind of the story, right? So like, I don't think most people play the game for the gameplay. They draw in by the story. The story look good. They keep playing for the story, and the gameplay itself is like a supplement to make the game look better. So yeah.
journey concluded in part.
So if the story gets shit, then people who come for story are my left. Even though the gameplay is good, if the story is bad, I mean most of them are left, right? Because why you play the game then? Story look bad, yeah, and you have to do story. So why do you even play the game even? I mean, that reason why I quit Genshin. It's like the story looks so bad, man. Story is so long. Even though gameplay for me is kind of fun, playing Gila is kind of good. But like, story looks so long. Stories so draw out, man. And I can't even skip them. So why do you even play the game?
Part 1, many people felt content to quit because for them the story also came to a close. Of course, we know that the story of Honkai Impact 3 is actually far from over, but for many the end of part 1 was a natural stopping point. Another reason might be related to Star Rail. Yes, Star Rail may have directly contributed to Honkai Impact 3.
Is it though? Like, if you are playing Honkai Impact, right? And if Story release, and you stop playing Honkai Impact, I think that's your problem. I think that's legit. It's a job problem. Because why would you stop playing Honkai Impact then? Because stories nothing relate. I mean, this relate to Honkai Impact, but like barely. Well, it's there, according is there, but like that's it, right? The overall story doesn't convert to Honkai Impact at all. So I think this reason is a bit stretchy because I don't know, man. Like I don't see the correlation at all for this.
Decline. Whether intentional or not, HSR released around the same time part 1 ended, creating the perfect situation for some players to move over. Not only did part 1's
I think what he's saying is that the people that quit. No, I don't think so, because like if Stellar don't release, the people who quit part 1, they're gonna move over to other game. Like if Bruhh released after part 1 ended, the people who left just move to Bruhh. Like I don't think this is a valid argument. There might be some data, but I think that's a very small data people who see Star is more fun than playing Honkai. So they see that part 1 is ending, they quit after part 1 end and go to Star Rail. I think that is just a small part of people. Because like the people who quit, because the people who are determined to quit the game after part 1, they're not coming to they're not they're like they don't think that part 1 ending, so I'm going to Star Rail. No. If anything, if any game release and hold on. If like any game release that's not Star Rail, I think people would just move to the game rather than Star Rail and stuff.
Story wrap up, but a newer Honkai game with a bigger budget, more advertising and more modern game systems was released, promising a fresh experience. It's difficult to say which factor had a larger impact, but there was a clear revenue dip after part 1 concluded. As a content creator, I can also attest that viewership after part 1 ended was much lower.
Was it? Okay, I agree. That Hush of Truth and origin video, bro, that shit, I don't know why that shit bang. Like I am kept chasing that high ever since, like 44k view, 43k view, bro. I've been chasing that high, but like I can never get it. I don't know how that shit got so much view, man. Like that's like admirable. There are no editing going on in that both two videos at all, and they got so good views. And like after part 1 ending, right? The only good Honkai video is like Full did get over 1k views. That's good. Songcher one almost get over 1k. It's like 800k. Only 800 views. What else? The shorts does look good. The shorts bang, man. That's the fucking shorts bang. I think long content, long form content, Honkai Impact. I don't think this is the way. Like people love short form content of Honkai Impact. Like people love that short 2 minutes, 2-second video, 30-second video. Like people love that shit. But like when people post some like long form Honkai Impact, there's no, man, they sleep on that one. Like no one cares. They only care about the short they only care about the short form content.
up to 3 times slower than it was during the Elysian Realm and the Moon Arc eras. As I mentioned before, even Genshin Impact's launch affected Honkai Impact Third's revenue to some extent, so it's no surprise that every time a new or more polished gacha game is released, Honkai Impact Third's revenue dips slightly as people are leaving. Many players feel burned out and want to try something new. It also doesn't help that some of Honkai Impact Third's systems feel very outdated. For example, the main game
Really?
modes like Abyss and Memorial Arena still have a leaderboard system that not only promotes excessive power creep and
No. I mean, okay. Excessive power creep, agree. Agree on that one. Like, the power creep in this game is insane, by the way. What did you say again? Leaderboard? Does that matter? Don't think so. I think it promotes more pay to win than pay to play. But then if you think about it, right? You can't just cap what routers or organic tree and you're fine. And those areas are like between free to play and like but the past buyer. So I don't think it's really promoting pay to win unless you're going to Nirvana. Parkrip though, agree. Parkrip agree.
fear of missing out, but also limits players' choice.
I agree on the limit power. I agree on the limit play choices. Like there's some weather, you're forced to play a specific team. Whereas like mid weather or what else? Mid weather. I think there's more, but I forgot. But like there's some weather they promote you like to play other teams. Like for example, mid right, we have Susanna, we have Luna. Those teams, that two teams you can play, and maybe Grisel as well. 3 teams, and I think they're good. I mean Honkai alone that is good. But there are some weather like ice weather, landing weather, even. That team they only promote one team. Like you have to play one team or else you're de-ranking. Like ice weather, right? Felamna, News One Felamna, Other One, what is it? Elysia, Virtual Prison, and also boss dependent as well. Like let's talk about ice again. The boss for ice, what is it again? Boss for ice has to be bio, right? So let's say a bio boss in ice weather. You are forced to play Phenomena and you can't play anyone else. I mean, Reason is a choice, but Reason is so weak now. Her show human is strong, but she's psychic, and that's already a big debuff there. So you're forced to play Phenomena. So I agree on this point here. This point makes like Abyss look so bad, man. Like, it might be fun, but like, you're forced to play one team, and you're missing one weapon. That is like the worst feeling you ever feel, bro. You have the character, but you don't have the weapon.
To stay competitive, players must use the current best teams for each weather condition or risk being penalized. Modern gacha games don't have such a rigid system, so
I think let's talk about Sariel. Let's talk a bit about Sariel. The Sariel system for endgame. I agree that Sariel is more open, much more open than Honkai Impact team wide. Like you can just run. Sometimes you can run break, Fuwa, BOT, Habakari. Like those 4 things, right? They are all viable in every seasons. But, however, the buff they give you in MOC, Pure Fiction, and Apocalyptic Shadow, those buffs definitely make a single team much way better than other team. Like for example, right? The current MOC, it if you buff when you either go break or follow attack, I think, and it's a give buff when you're running EOT or Hypercarry. That alone make 2 teams. Those 2 teams way better than the rest. And there are 2 phases to the floor 12. So you're forced to either go break or what if you want to achieve the max score. Of course, you can also go Hypercarry. Doesn't matter. But like, it would make your run way more difficult than if you want to go for or break. And the recent Apocalypse Shadow, right? They recommend you to go break and again follow attack. So I mean, I did try to go for Acron DOT break build. It's very messy, but like it works, but like it's so much worse that if you go like Facial Topaz Robin, and every team. Like that team is of course way better than what I'm going across DPS DOT. Apparently that it works, it definitely works, but it takes so much more time to do, man, to finish the game. So of course Sario is more open, but it just kind of depend though, right? It really depends. But I agree. But like, I wish Honkai have more of Star Wars stuff, being like more open to have many teams.
Another reason for the decline is that Honkai Impact 3 follows an old formula for gacha games and many players have grown tired of it. This brings me to my next point, gacha oversaturation.
Okay.
This year has been fantastic.
What, foot point? No.
For gacha games with new releases like Zenless Zone Zero and Wuthering Waves. But the problem now is that there are so many gacha games available and so little.
Okay, true. I agree. That one with too much gacha game. To agree. Yeah, not wrong. It's like I've been playing what Knight barely though. I kind of go in and out for a bit. Honkai Impact, Stario. Is that it? Yeah, 3. Wow, only 3? I thought more. I quit get Wuba and Knight are on the side. Like they are just side quests. Sometimes I want to log in, sometimes I don't want to. And the most two major game I play, Stario and Honkai. Bro, they took so much fucking time, man. Wow, they took so many time. Like, I know that my schedule is kind of open, but like, bro, they took time doing story and game content and stuff. Man, they took long time. They took long. So, yeah, I agree. This is what like there's too much there's too much gacha game to be playing for people to care about Honkai Impact at all.
Time in a person's day that they must pick and choose which game to play. A lot of players end up dropping older gachas to try new ones. This also makes it even less likely for new players to start Honkai Impact 3.
True, agree that one. Yeah, agree.
Honkai Impact 3 very
good point though. Actually, good point.
Friendly to new players, but there's little reason for them to pick it when there are so many other options. I remember when HSR and ZZZ hadn't launched yet.
I think. Okay, even though right, there are more gacha game in the world or whatever now. I think if Honkai Impact appeal to a younger audience, because fucking kids have, okay, not kids, teenagers, they have time, man. They have so many time. They have so much time that days. If they appeal to a younger audience, maybe like 13, 14 years old, I think it would make the game more famous. But I think the cost for that is to the people modding over the game, like Genshin. So you can either stick to your old fan base or to apply to newer fan base and make the old fan base go away. It is a cost, man. There's always cost for anything. So I think Honkai is sticking to the old fan base now. What is that now, the new one?
Experienced a massive influx of new players from Genshin Impact who wanted to explore other MiHoYo games. While the new player experience was poor even then, there were no other alternatives for people to try. Nowadays, a Genshin Impact player is much more inclined to try out newer games with a better onboarding experience like HSR or ZZZ, and an HSR player is more likely to try Genshin Impact.
I think if Honkai Impact is as famous as Stario, more people would move. No, what am I saying here? Hold on. I think reason why Honkai Impact is not no one playing it on the point he's saying here, because like if the game is what I'm saying here, hold on. I need to think first. Hold on. I think if Honkai Impact is as famous as Stario, and if Genshin player want to play a new game in your hoyoverse sphere. Oh, fuck! Oh, I'm yapping here. Okay, whatever.
So not only did all players leave, but the influx of new players was also reduced due to competition from newer titles. Even though hoyoverse tried to market Part 2 as a way for new players to get into the game, the issue is that Part 2 was still attached.
Okay, I got it. If the dev of MiHoYo advertise Honkai Impact as much as Stario, because at the launch of Stario, right, bro, they've been like promoting, bro. Like you see all those ads, bro. Like if they did the same to Honkai Impact, make not make the game more friendly, but like give the new player a feeling why they should play this game rather than zero Star Rail Wuwa. That I think the game would have more players because like recently, right? I've been going outside and bro, the only ads I see are Genshin, 000 and Star Rail. Those three, that's it. No impact. Like when later release, right? No banner at all. Like nothing advertised. Like but like when another release, I saw banner everywhere. When 000 release, banner everywhere. When was it Facial? No, it was before Facial. Banners everywhere. Like if they did Honkai Impact, if they give Honkai Impact more advertised, then the game will get more famous. Even though the system might be old, they just need to give Honkai Impact more advertisement, man. They just need to do that. That's it.
To an 8-year-old game. Don't get me wrong, I think that part 2 did a lot of good things and improved the game significantly, modernizing many aspects that felt outdated.
Like, doesn't matter how much you make the game look good. It doesn't matter if you don't advertise the game. Like, it is a waste if you don't advertise. Like, advertise is like actually banger here. Like, if you like maybe did more sponsorship, maybe do fucking concert, maybe that the game will explode. Trust me, it will do good. Just do more advertisement.
But it still wasn't enough to bring in a high influx of players. First of all, new players had
making quality of life only affect the people been playing. It would affect the people. It would make people new people come in. It just make old people stick to the game. That's it. And that's why people love QOL. Because it is for the player, not for the new player. Like you know what I mean.
To reach level 30 to start part 2, and while part 2 was initially presented as a good starting point for new players, everyone who played it quickly realized that wasn't the case. Part 2 relies heavily on information from part 1 to the point where new players are almost certain to feel confused.
Same problem, man. Same problem as normal. It's Honkai. It is Honkai. It is the story. The story is still the problem of Honkai Impact. Like it is it's like also a massive issue here, right? Because the story is so dense. It's actually so dense. You have to know like the background for it. You need to read manga. You need to go. You need to know maybe the light novel. You need to play the game for 20 hours a day to know the lore. You need to play every side event. Like the story is still a problem. Like I think it is the same question, but maybe better because you can skip. It is a story, right? The story is way too long. It's too again stretch out, man. It is stretched out as fuck. Just make the story maybe condense it for a bit. Make it still look good. Just cut out some uses dialogue.
On top of all the challenges that the game itself faces in attracting new players, the global server isn't helped by the fact that unlike other Hoyo games, Honkai Impact Third has more entry barriers. For example, the game still doesn't have an English dub to this day.
Okay. Hot take. English dub doesn't fucking matter. You know why? Because most we play fucking JP. I go through APCN. But English dub is so worthless. No one cares about English. Maybe like 20% of people play. 20%. Only those 20% care about English. The rest, JP or CN. Doesn't fucking matter, bro. Like people keep praising that, maybe like people keep saying that the game should get more English VA. No, bro. Like I don't think it is just a waste of resources. Like I don't think English will save the game. Literally though, maybe it will bring in like 1,000 people. But those 1,000, right? Are they coming for the game or are they coming for English? And if you're coming for English, it's actually over because the dev want people, right? No, because like you would rather draw people in for story than for the VA. I think so. Because if the VA left, they left the game as well. So they need to make like the story better. They legit need to make story better and do more advertising.
I understand it's a lot of content, and dubbing everything might not be feasible, but I feel like hoyoverse severely underestimates the importance of a dub. I know
I still don't know, man. I still don't know, bro. Like, if the like due to how many words there are in Honkai, does it matter that they are dubbed at all? Like, people are just alt tapping left and right just for you listen to a dialogue instead of reading it. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I seriously don't know.
many Genshin and Star Rail players who refuse to try the game simply because it lacks English voice acting.
And those players are just what 10% of who actually care. Like, those who refuse to play the game, those are the 10% of the player base. Like, I know 10% might be much, but generally, like, but overall, right, 10% is like nothing. I think so. Like, trust me, English is so bad for the like English is never good at all. Trust me, man.
Part 2 could have been the perfect opportunity to add it, even if only for Part 2 content. And before you say, Homo, but wouldn't it be weird to have part of the game dubbed while the rest isn't? I mean, yeah, but I've played games like that in the past, and it was fine. For example, a small game I enjoy in my free time called Eversoul recently had the Japanese dub only to some parts of the game, even while it was previously only dubbed in Korean.
Hold on. What's Arknights like this? Because I know Arknights English VI is like some does have it, some doesn't. So, and here's the thing. English VI, English dub in Arknights, like, people care, people do care. But I think mostly care only about the GP and the CN. Like, you saw all those, okay, like, you saw all those, like, all those birthday tweets of this VI. They are nothing for the fucking English. They are only for JP and maybe CN. Like, the English is not popular at all. Trust me, JP is much more popular than CN or English even. Like the top popularity, right? English bottom, CN next, and JP top. Like, no one cares about English at all. Like, I know that people do English, if I like no bad words for them. But like, overall, I don't think no one cares about English VI.
And it works. It really does.
And it only draw in the West, or the maybe like 5% of the Asians only care about English. But majorly, they all, like, most Asians play JP, and most of the West, and like the West is like, bro, the West is 10% of the player base, bro. Trust me. Like, you would rather draw more Asians than draw more Westerners.
Doesn't bother me. Additionally, Honkai is available in far fewer languages than other Hoyo games. Let me tell you, there's a big
That I agree. They should add more English. They should add more language option. No, they should add more language option than add more voice over option. That I agree.
Spanish-speaking community interested in the game who have repeatedly asked hoyoverse to add a Spanish version. And I think people really underestimate how many countries in this world speak Spanish. And another major factor is that the game only features female playable characters. Now, I
don't know. That is such a weak point, man. I mean, that is a point for sure, but that is very weak.
I don't think this affects its popularity as much as the other points, but we can't deny that Honkai Impact 3 misses out on an audience that...
Okay, true. I mean, there's always something that makes the game die. But I don't think this point is really that big, man. I don't think it's like... It's such a small point to make, bro.
That the other modern games capitalize on, the husbando enjoyers. The point I'm trying to make here is that in addition to the game being massive, old and existing in a super saturated gacha space, it has a lot of entry barriers on the global side that the other games don't have because it comes from a different era of hoyoverse. And while I hope that some of these would be added with Part 2's release, it seems like Hoyo didn't make a big effort to expand the game for its global audience. But despite everything I've mentioned, the situation with Honkai Impact 3 is not as grim as some on social media make it out to be. As I said, the game still makes a lot of money, more than we see on the monthly gacha revenue chart.
I think, okay, let me just repeat again. The game is dying in global. CN is still massive, but global wise, the game is dying for real though. The game is dying for real. Like, most people I have talked to, they barely play Honkai Impact. Like, globally, nothing. They only play Star Rail Genshin. They heard about the game, but they don't play the game. Whereas in Asia, most people play Honkai Impact. Just say.
And contrary to popular belief, Part 2 might have brought in an increase of players rather than a decrease.
But Homo, the numbers don't lie. The game still makes the same amount of money as it
Money is so like if anyone say money and if anyone say the game is dying because money going down, shut the fuck up, bro.
did during Part 1.5 or even a little less. This shows there's no growing trend for the game. You dump Honkai Impact or chill.
First of all, rude, and second, my next point is about how
Honkai Impact
comparing the
shield.
revenue from Part 1 to Part 2 is not the best indicator of how things are due to the fact that the game has an almost entirely different monetization system and the spending habits that players had in Part 1 are not the same in Part 2.
Chapter 3.
Before we get into the juicy stuff, let me explain the differences between the gacha systems of Part 1 and Part 2. First and foremost, the pity was reduced from 100 to 90. Second, the number of dupes required to reach SSS for a character was reduced from 8 to 6, which is in line with the other Hoyo games. Now, on the gear side, things are a lot different. Perhaps most
I mean, the gear side wise is very different. Worse or bad, your experience, I guess. Mine is got dog shit. It got much worse than Part 1.
Importantly,
I don't know
unlike
how.
before, all Part 2 stigmata are farmable. Yes, you heard me right. So, the only thing that you really need
Like, I think most point they're making like is that stigmata are farmable. Therefore, Part 2 system is better. I agree. Okay, I'm not trying to shit on them, but like I agree that making stigmata farmable is much better. But making weapon much harder to get is so bad. Like even though you got 10 dupes of stigmata, it doesn't matter if you do have weapon or not. Weapon is like a life changer for a character. You need to have weapon, or else your team is dead. Or else the character is unplayable.
pull for is the weapon, which is guaranteed to drop within 60 pulls. Previously, all the gear was
I mean, in the past as well, right? The gears you always need the gear, but like if you're missing maybe a stigmata top bottom, it's fine because like I think overall for Part 1 character, right? If you're missing a stigmata, you can replace it with something else, and the damage might drop down, but you still do damage. And in Part 1, you get weapon at the same rate as stigmata. Therefore, you can get weapon. So like in my experience, you get weapon way easier in Part 1 than Part 2. Because in Part 2, right, you get stigmata scrappable. Sure, agree, that's good. But weapon is so much harder to get now. The drop is by half. Stigmata rate is double. So pity you're getting. It's just stigmata. You keep getting stigmata. And like that is like the worst feeling you ever feel in your life. You hit max PD on character and then you hit max PD in weapon. That is how is that fair? Literally how?
behind gacha, with each piece having a PT of 50 pulls. This meant that if you were very unlucky, you could
That's
go
me,
up
bro.
to 200 pulls to fully gear a Valkyrie, whereas now you can be done in 60. And you may say,
I mean, it's every patch, right? You can always do a 10 character and a 10 weapon. You get max gear. I think that's happened. I mean, that is always a possibility. I think that possibility might be higher in Part 2 because you don't have to pull for stigmata anymore. But like, is it true though? Is it really true?
Okay, this is much better, right? What's the catch?
there are multiple. To offset these changes, Part 2 also added a dupe system for the weapons similar to Genshin and Star Rail, where you can pull 2 more copies of the weapon to upgrade its power. While these upgrades are not necessary, if you want the full potential of a weapon, you could go up to 180 pulls. Overall, I much prefer the Part 2 system because it's easier to get the gear, and the weapon upgrades are so minor that only super whales go for
I mean, yeah,
them,
true, agree
and
on that one.
let's be honest, it doesn't make a difference difference for them since they'll spend regardless. Another catch is that all the Part 2 stigmata can be crafted and upgraded with a new material called Source Prism, which, especially at the beginning of Part 2, was very scarce. Nowadays, Hoyo does a much better job of distributing these mats to the point where
Yeah, I think Source Prism isn't. I think Source Prism is really not the issue here. Because yeah, the fucking bro, the first part of the story, bro, Source Prism is like it's like what diamond, bro, or gold. Like they are so valuable.
I never feel like I'm lacking them. However, the issue is that the game
Yeah, because you're not lacking them because you're getting duped from fucking Sigmara. You're always getting duped. Therefore, you're always getting Source Prism.
into constantly playing to get them, because many are tied to weeklies and limited time content, so you have to play consistently to get them. Another catch is that since Part 2 was released, each patch had a new S-Rank Valkyrie locked behind gacha. Although there were back-to-back S-Ranks in Part 2 as well, the usual norm was an S-Rank patch followed by a farmable SP or A-Rank, or at least a farmable S-Rank from the War Treasury. This made many players feel like they didn't have enough time to save crystals and breathe a little since they felt pressured to pull for every new unit to stay relevant in the meta, whereas previously they could use the SP Valk patch to save, or did they? If we are talking pure math, even with back-to-back S ranks, Part 2 is still cheaper than Part 1 because the SP Valk's gear was not free. In Part 2 you need 90 pulls for the Valk and 60 more for the weapon. That's a total of 150 pulls per patch or 300
Hold on, let him
pulls over
cook, let him
2
cook, hold on.
patches if you are really unlucky. In Part 1 you needed 300 pulls just to get an S rank and its gear, and 120 more pulls to fully gear an SP Valkyrie. Not to
I think that is talking about maximum PD. Okay, maximum PD wise, true. Part 2 is way better. But I think in those situations, it's like 1% or 2% of people got it, bro. So you have to talk about it's like very hard to talk about, right? Because it's probability. So I think from what I saw mostly, Part 1 Part 1 gacha system this might be better in a way.
mention that if you were a hardcore meta player, some SP gear was so powerful that you needed multiple copies. So even with all the
Really? Okay. Susanoo, right? Susanoo, I think Stigmata is worth it. Other than that, I don't remember though.
changes, it's still much cheaper now than it was before. So why do people feel like they can catch a brat? Well, that's because the Part 1 gacha allowed you to snipe the weapon early. You see, a lot of players, especially those who weren't very competitive, which is most of the player base, would snipe the weapon early for both S ranks and SP units and stopped there. With the new system, it's very hard to do that, as most of the time you'll get close to PT before getting the weapon.
True.
And even though the chance
True.
to get the weapon is the same as before, Part 2 boosted the chance for Stigmata to drop up to a whopping 14%, making it harder to pull the weapon even if the weapon rates remained the same. To sum it up, while the Part 2 gacha is unequivocally better on paper, Part 1 gacha allowed you to be lucky and snag
Yes, bro. Someone shit talk about Part 2 weapon. Oh my god, finally someone. Oh.
the weapon early and be done with it. Another issue is how the Part 2 Valkyries synergize with each other. For example, you had Synadi.
I think is it better though? Because like in part 1, right? Most new Valkyrie, most new character are locked behind a team. They are locked fixed in a team. Whereas in like Part 2, you can put Senna, even though Senna is a lightning. She is a support in ice and fire. Physical as well, I think. So team synergy wise, Part 2 is way better. I'm saying so much shit here, but like I think character wise, I think Part 2 does a good job in making the characters more relevant. Because what makes the character relevant is the weather in the boss. If in the patch, most weather in the boss doesn't buff physical, then the physical team the physical team, is worthless and irrelevant. Whereas in part 2, right, even though Lightning isn't that popular, you can still put Senna in most teams due to she's a good support in most part 2 team anyway.
Tina, Telema, Lantern, and Songche all released one after another, and each being the best support for each other. So if you wanted to play these teams at full potential, you had to get all 4 of them.
Yes, you need to get 4 all of them. But like, however, right, in part 1, you need to get get 3 characters for one team. In total, 12 different, okay, maximum, right? 12 different characters. And I'm not saying Truth here because Truth is a good support for all team. But like 12, right? Yeah. So part 1, maximum of 12 characters you need to get. Whereas in part 2, it's only 4 characters. So think about that wise. Part 2 is way better at team building than part 1.
Sure, there are replacements like Hylia and Coralie that can fill in and cover the gaps, but the teams would suffer some damage loss. When part 2 first released,
yes, damage loss, agree. But if you think about that in part 1 again, like I didn't get Kira gear. The amount of damage you lost without having Kira is fucking insane. Like, didn't get weapon, didn't get the stigmata. Bro, I was fucking dying there, man. My ice team is actually dog shit.
it really felt like you needed to pull everything, partially because part 2 introduced an entirely new mechanic, the Astral Ring, so I think that Hoyo rushed a bit to fill in the roster as fast as they could. I felt the same
I mean, I agree, they could slow it down for a bit, I agree on that one.
At that time, but now that we have a good roster of characters and a clear idea of how part 2 works, it's starting to show that not all part 2 characters are made equal, and you can definitely skip some. For
yeah, let's skip Parasite and Sparkle. Parasite, true, I can agree that one. Like, yeah, we all love Terry, but like, I think it's a good choice for him to skip Terry, man. Like Vita and Kiana wise, I think it's kind of worth it. Lantern wise, I don't know about Lantern. So team sheet buffing is sometime lightning and ice most of the time, right? And they say like you can replace Lantern with Corelli, and the damage loss is only what 10% or 20%. So maybe true you can skip Lantern, but like me wise, I think Lantern is kind of worth it. Sparkle, I have no idea about Sparkle.
Example, Lantern, Teresa, and Sparkle are all characters that you can easily skip with minimal penalty. On the other hand, Selema, Songche, and now Vita
I'm so sorry that I didn't get Songche open, man. Like, fuck my life, dude.
are much higher priorities, and you'll feel their absence more if you.
Songche wise, right? I don't know about Songche, man. Like, she is insanely better as the DPS than Songche, but like, I don't know about Songche. Like most team I play, I still use the old team and it still works. I don't think people say that Lantern is valuable, but like I've been playing it, but I've been playing without Songche. It's still fine. Listen, I don't see the change though.
You don't have them. While it initially felt like you needed to pull every character, it's now clear that you can skip some part 2 S ranks. And it's worth mentioning that part 2 Valkyries have more value than part 1 because each one functions as both a support and a DPS. While in part 1 you needed 12 different units to cover all elemental and physical weathers, in part 2 you only need 4. Yes, you heard me right, 4. With 4 units, you're covered for every possible weather except bleed. But hey, they have to shield Luna somehow. So even with the seemingly more aggressive release schedule, I think that the part 2 gacha and units are miles better than what we had in part 1. And it's not even close. And the only reason why people say that part 1 was better is either because of anecdotal bias from bad luck, nostalgia, or simply because
bad luck. Bad luck. Bad luck, bro. Yeah, me for you, man.
because they do not fully understand how the game works. An example of this is how some people claim that Part 2 removed the PT system, which is not true. First of all, Honkai Impact
PT system?
always had a different PT system from other Hoyo games.
Wait, hold on. PD? Wait, what? PD?
And unlike Genshin or HSR, your chances don't get astronomically boosted at soft PT. Additionally, more people are hitting hard PT in Part 2 because while the hard PT was reduced from 100 to 90, the soft PT stayed the same. This means that the chances of reaching 0 PT in Part 2 are the same.
I don't know, man. My lantern push, like the current lantern push bit better. But like most of my pool have been hitting a hot PD most of the time. Once in part one, I getting bro part one right. I get character Solian, which is so good for content. So I think I might be in those with bad luck. But I don't know, man. It's like I think this is what personal bias, I guess. Been hitting too much hot PD, so I believe there's a PD system now. I think so. What's up, Ghost? Mark my going to stream. No wonder why anyone got it. Oh, yeah, that's right. That might be true, man. That might be true. They removed the soft PD. That might be true.
Same as reaching 10 PT in Part 1. And because it's much easier to get characters and fully gear them, it's only natural that people will spend less money on the game, which I think also shows in the monthly revenue. That's why I said that it's unfair to compare the revenue from Part 1 to Part 2. If Part 2 had the same gacha system as before, revenue would likely be higher. Sure, the difference wouldn't be astronomical, but it doesn't really matter. And to prove that I'm not talking nonsense, I went on social media and asked the spenders.
Okay, okay. A bit of background story here. I tried to reach out for this, but he said that I got an update already. Bro, I was 3 days late. 3 days late, by the way, and he got enough data. Man, come on.
In my community, how the monetization changes from Part 1 to Part.
Okay, this could be such a good advertisement to my channel, man. No kid though.
Part 2 affected their spending habits, and here are the results.
Chapter 4.
Between spenders reaching out to me from my community and some friends, I managed to get their data from
40
around
people?
40 people.
Holy.
While I know that this isn't a huge sample size, there's a surprising overlap in responses, allowing us to identify some patterns, even if the numbers are not perfectly accurate. There are also a lot of interesting insights that I didn't even notice until reading what people had to say. So let's begin. First, the survey included spenders across different tiers. 30% were small spenders who usually spend less than $100 a month, 63% spend between $100 and $500 a month, and 7% spend
Okay, I think I am definitely in the 40%
over
because I only spent on the battle pass and that's it.
$500. 43% of people found themselves spending less since Part 2's release, while 30%
I spent more than I don't know how, but I spent more in part 1. No, I spent more in part 2. Due to the fucking weapon. That's it. And in part 1, I never feel the thing to spend money because I always get weapon and character early and that's it. And if I'm missing a stigmata, I don't have a feeling to spend to get the last one. Whereas in part 2, if I am 10 pool away from getting weapon, I have to get it.
and say that they spend about the same, and only 26% say that they spend more, mostly due to bad luck. The majority, over 53%, agree that Part 2's gacha is a lot more forgiving for spenders, while 30% say that it's about the same and 16% think it's worth.
Really? That much for real? Bros, they are all such fucking Honkai dick riders, man.
A whopping 63% of people think it's easier to get a battlesuit and fully gear it in Part 2, while 27% think it's about the same and 10%
Nah, this fuck that up, bro. This fuck that up. Nah, this actually fuck that up, bro. Like, if I was here, right? Bro, those 41 people. Trust me, bro. This shit good could be higher. Trust me, this shit gonna be higher.
think it's harder. The majority, 57%, prefer Part 2's gacha system over Part 1, 30% have no preferences, and only
okay,
13%
Alright, brother, no preferences. Okay, bro.
prefer Part 1. What this shows is that most active spenders are spending less since Part 2 started. The majority think that the Part 2 gacha is more forgiving for spenders, and agree it's easier to get a new battlesuit and fully gear it than before. Overall, most spenders prefer Part 2's monetization system over Part 1's. But if we dig deeper into the answers, we see some interesting patterns. For example, the people who spend the most don't notice a big difference in their spending habits between Part 1 and Part 2.
Hold on, what?
Spend the most don't notice a big difference in their
Yeah, no shit, because they don't care about the fucking money, bruh. If they're spending, bro. What do they care?
spending habits between Part 1 and Part 2. This is because they go for weapon dupes and astral OPs, which results in them spending about the same. The groups that benefit the most from the Part 2 gacha system are light spenders and
Yeah, not me, shit. Not me, dog. Not me.
dolphins, who get every character and gear but do not go for anything extra. For these people, the Part 2 gacha system has greatly reduced their spending, while Leviathans still spend about the same, maybe a bit less. Of course, luck also plays a role. Some people wrote that while they understand that Part 2's gacha system is better on paper, they had terrible luck, so they ended up spending about the same, which I can relate to. Another interesting point is that a lot of people liked the off rates in Part 1 because they allowed them to work on building other Valkyries, while they feel that Stigmata dupes in Part 2 don't...
Okay, low key though, off rate in Part 1, right? The off rates, sometimes they are worthless. Trust me, sometimes the off rates are worthless because like most of the time the off rate Stigmata are not meta wise, they are just for the old Valkyrie. So sometimes you get the off rate Stigmata, they are just worthless, man. That doesn't matter. And the same for weapon as well. The off rates are most of the time for non-meta character. And I think I did get some off rates for meta, but they are very, you know, once in say 3 months, I guess. It's not really often.
Offer as much value. I partially agree with this and feel like they should make salvaging a Part 2 Stigmata give you 3 prisms instead of 1. Perhaps the most surprising finding was that most spenders are okay with the constant release of S ranks every patch as a way for hoyoverse to offset the cheaper gear and PT reduction. Instead, people cited that they didn't like the back-to-back releases of Valkyries that need each other in the same team, bringing up the Senna Thelema Lantern situation. Fortunately, this doesn't seem as much of a problem in recent patches, so hopefully it will stay that way. Some spenders, however, feel burned out with the constant releases and would appreciate a patch or 2 of break. Others mention that the constant power creep in Honkai Impact 3 makes them feel like they always need to spend, which is a problem many gacha games face. I've always said that power creep wouldn't be as big of an issue in Honkai Impact 3 if leaderboards weren't a thing. All gacha games
that is true, right? Listen, yeah, true. I mean, like, yeah. If leader doesn't exist, no way, bro. No shit, bro. But I think, if they remove the leaderboard, right? One thing they could make is Abyss. I like same story, right? They make the Abyss harder in somehow. Like they force people to they force player to use a specific team in Abyss more than this time we have now, I guess. So. That's somehow they make more money. Or I'm just yapping here.
Have power creep. Even HSR has a lot, but the problem with Honkai Impact 3 is that it actively punishes you for not using the most optimal team. So, instead of using your favorite units, you're forced to use the meta. While older Valkyries can still clear content, since your score is compared against others for rewards, the power creep feels much more prominent. I agree that they should either give us some breathing spaces with farmable Valkyries in some patches, or remove the aspects of the game like leaderboards that punish players for not pulling.
Okay, I think the leaderboard is here to stay. Like, leaderboard is here to stay, man. I don't think they are removing leaderboard at all.
Every character. Genshin, Star Rail and ZZZ all have 5 stars and S ranks in every patch, sometimes even more than 1, but players don't have an issue with those games because unlike Honkai Impact 3, those games don't punish you for skipping a character. So I think we can safely conclude that ever since Part 2 started, people spend less because the gacha is more forgiving, which also reflects in the revenue. That's why it's not fair to compare the revenue from the last year with today's. Looking only at Part 2 charts, Part 2 seems seems to have started strong, then dipped for a bit. For some reason, revenue grew during Lantern's banner, then dipped again,
I told
reaching
you,
an
bro, revenue
all-time
is
low
worthless.
during Terry's release. This is understandable given that Teresa isn't as meta-relevant as other units and was released between Songche and Vita, two very strong Part 2 units. Vita brought a huge revenue increase in China, almost equaling the release month, and I'm sure that the Honkai Star Rail collaboration will also do well.
Oh, fun over here. Okay.
So, what's the conclusion of this video? Well, Honkai Impact 3 is not dead or dying, and I feel like people using these words have never played a game that was actually quote-unquote dead. There is still quite a substantial community for this game on social media, and the player base is still active. Sure, the game has definitely lost a part of its player base in the last year, there's no denying that, but if you consider the game's age, its newbie unfriendliness, the super saturated gacha market, and the fact that Kiana's story recently finished, I feel like it's something normal.
Okay, I'm just jump pop it here. Like, how much player do you think? Okay, for like, okay, if you're on Twitter a lot, right? You see all those like fan account, like fucking what, Honkai Chibi, Daily Chibi or something. How much player do you think they actually pull in? Low-key though? Like low-key. Like, I don't think they pull in that much player, bruh. Like, even though their likes are what, in 1K, 2K? Bruh, those people who like to tweet, because one, they're just funny, and two, they want, I don't know, social points, I guess. Because low-key here, even though they make the scene more alive than ever, if you just look more than Twitter itself, right? Maybe you go on YouTube or some shit, bro, the game is dead, man. Like, the game is actually dead. Twitter is such a cesspool, man. Like, you think Twitter is helping the game to be alive? I mean, I agree on one point, but not really, bro. Like, it's fucking Twitter, bro. Like, they make game look worse than ever. They make Genshin look way worse. They make what? They make what game are there? They make some game. Like, the Twitter community make everything worse, bro. Like, no. Like, did you say that Twitter actually putting more people into playing Honkai? Nah.
This game will never be as popular as newer hoyoverse titles, no matter how many new stories Hoyo creates or how much they improve the graphics and gameplay, simply due to the sheer amount of content it has that makes people more hesitant to pick it up, not to mention the barriers that the global version especially has for new players. That said, the game's decline has been overly exaggerated online by people for various reasons. The game's revenue on gacha revenue is not a good indicator of how much money it actually makes because it ignores PC revenue, merchandise, etc., and even on some mobile platforms it only estimates the sum. The game makes a lot more than what we see there, and for those comparing Part 2 revenue to Part 1, yes, revenue has declined, but not so much as it seems because Part 2 has a whole new monetization system that literally makes spenders, well, spend less due to how easy it is to fully gear a new unit. Judging by recent trends, Vita's banner did incredibly well, at least in China, as we don't have the global data at that time.
I think the global data is, for Honkai alone, is like minimal changes. Like, those who play on global will continue playing. Whereas in China, right, I think the data is much more vivid than global alone. Because if you're playing Honkai Impact in global, bro, you're playing the game forever, bro. Like, you ain't quitting. Whereas in China, I think it's more like a Genshin global situation where like people will quit playing the game. I think so. Like, if you like, what is it? If you want to compare Honkai Impact revenue, just take the CN, man. Like, global ain't doing shit, man. Just take the CN value. Don't take global. Global look like nothing
of the recording, but global usually follows the same pattern anyway. With the Honkai Star Rail collab following soon and the main story improving while introducing more Star Rail lore, the game will likely see an increase in both revenue and popularity in the coming months.
Okay, with the Star Rail collab, right? The way they're advertising, I think it's good. Like, they, with the new trailer as well, right? They push it on Honkai Impact rather than in Star Rail, therefore making more people go to Honkai Impact channel than Honkai Star Rail channel. I agree I think that is like a way to make advertising good. Like they're posting more stuff in Honkai Impact social media than in Stereo, which make people go to there more often. That is good. I agree. I think that's a good way to advertise.
Mention all the awesome quality of life changes.
But like they are only showing like Vita wise, right? Not showing any other character. So if they're coming, right? If they're coming from Sparkle, and I think after the collab they might be quitting, because if they, I mean it I mean the collab is just focused on the election aha, right? So they don't want to show other character like Falana or Songcher, Senna. So I think so like the new player that come into Honkai Impact for the collab, they only want to get Sparkle and that's it, nothing else. Whereas like a small group of people who want to go to Honkai Impact for the collab, that small group of people might actually like the story. Just a small group though, just small, like 5% or 2% even. So I think they should do a bit more advertising for all the characters than just Vita alone.
Been getting recently that truly improved the experience for existing players. All in all, Honkai Impact 3rd, while less popular, is already in the hoyoverse ecosystem, which guarantees that it will always attract new players from other Hoyo games, as long as the developers keep referencing it in the newer titles and connecting their lore in more obvious ways,
That's
like
a
they
good
did
way
recently
to
in
advertise.
Chapter 5. Honkai Impact 3rd is part of the Honkai series, which will only grow and become more popular as time goes on and new games are released, so it will always generate interest.
Yes, the lore's getting popular over time, but that doesn't mean that the game will get popular more though. I don't think so.
And even so, Honkai Impact 3rd doesn't need to really perform exceptionally well for hoyoverse. They make so much revenue from their newer titles that they can afford to fund new projects and keep the old ones alive and thriving without concern. This is evident in every update Honkai Impact 3rd receives. Just look at the stark contrast between how the game looked and played at launch and how it is now. Just look at Rimu, the new map in 7.9.
Holy shit,
that the devs
okay.
love this game and still want
Actually,
to
good
keep
map.
developing it, otherwise they wouldn't bother making a part 2 or improving it as much as they could. For them, Honkai Impact 3rd is more than a game, it's a time capsule that immortalizes how much they've grown and expanded over time.
I mean that's a good way, right? Like use the revenue for other game for this game. I think that's very good. Whereas like if you just what? One game revenue is for that game, this game revenue is for this game. Bro, who make Honkai Impact die faster than ever, man. Alright. That was long though, 30 minutes. I make that shit up to what? How long? 1 hour? Oh wow, alright. But yeah, this is like good discussion though. Very good discussion. Very good. What the fuck is this? Okay. Alarm table technically, okay. But I've just for so much now, bro. My mouth is in pain. If Honkai has one remaining player, that would be me. Okay. I stand on the fact that none of the Hojo games would be around with Honkai Impact. It crawl, walked, and so sure. I walk so you can run. Alright. Yeah, that was a good rec video. And this discussion as well. So of course, always go watch this guy video. Go subscribe to him, like the video as well. So yeah, go watch, bro. He make good content.